Today we're going to be talking about currency exchange. Obviously, a lot of things happening in the world at the moment with geopolitical tensions. So we thought it was a good time to get Aaron Morris, our expert currency exchange trader, on the channel. Today we're going to be discussing current affairs. We're going to be discussing market updates for GBP Euro, USD Euro, and also Aussie Dollar Euro, and how the markets have reacted off the back of the escalation in Iran, and what that means for the future. For people that are here for the first time, can you just give us a bit of background on yourself and smart currency and how you can help?
Absolutely. So, hello everybody. So my name's Aaron. I work on the dealing desk at Smart Currency. So I've been in the industry for 14 years and helped hundreds, if not thousands, of clients purchasing properties overseas. So I'm fully aware of the processes involved and sort of how to help and sort of managing your budget and mitigating risks, and that's where Smart Currency come in. So once a client has got a trading account open with us, I can be your eyes and ears to the market, offer you a sort of boutique white glove approach to it all, and make sure that your needs come first in the ever-changing markets.
It tells a bit about the process when we put a buyer in touch with you, how the process works, how quickly can you get an account open, and what the steps are.
Yes, really simple. So we'll start off by just having an initial phone call, just so I can introduce myself and just find out a little bit about a client's timeframes and requirements, and just sort of go over the process and the mechanics of using the trading account and how we can help booking the currency exchange and mitigating that risk, as I mentioned. But once we've done that, you've got the option to either register online or speak to someone on the phone just to get the account activated. That takes a couple of minutes to do. That's free of charge, doesn't sort of obligate you in any way to use us. But once you've got that account open, you've got the option to come through to me on the dealing desk, use the online platform for smaller amounts. And as I say, once that's done, we can start sort of to monitor the markets and build a strategy to help manage that client budget and currency risk.
Sounds like an easy process. I'm right. Well, when I introduce any buyers, they go directly to you, right? We make an email introduction, and clients are only dealing with you throughout the whole process, which is great as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So one port of call for the entire transaction. So I'll be able to see through getting the account open, to seeing like the notary or solicitor receiving the proceeds of the funds. So yeah, from start to finish, it'd only be me that you're speaking with.
So tell us a bit about what's been happening. I know this has been a bit crazy these past few days, right? How the market's reacted, I guess.
Yeah, it's been a pretty volatile week, so it certainly kept us on our toes on the dealing desk. So yeah, obviously news broke at the last weekend, and we saw quite a lot of volatility in the early stages of last week as the markets reacted to all the events going on around the world. As the weeks progressed, rates have maybe started to settle a little bit, haven't quite seen the peaks and troughs that we saw across maybe Monday and Tuesday. But yeah, it's allowed for some interesting conversation with clients, and obviously we've seen budgets impacted massively over the course of the week as things have changed. If you're looking at it in terms of like currency, you'd actually, in all honesty, I'd say that the US dollar has probably been the biggest winner out of all of it. So that's the dollar's gained ground across the board, which, considering it's probably one of the weaker performing currencies over the last 12 months, has probably come to help and positive bit of news for anyone that's holding dollars and looking to move funds into euros or whatever it might be. But the dollar's gained probably around 2% against the euro this week and 1% against the pound. So it's just allowed it to claw back some of the ground that it's lost over the last few months, and the reason for that is just one, the dollar has a safe haven status. So in terms of uncertainty and volatility, investors will look to put their money into the dollar, and sort of like the Swiss franc or the Japanese yen. They're the other currencies that kind of have that safe haven status. But also the rise in oil and gas prices, and because they're priced in dollars, has just allowed the dollar to claw back some ground that way as well. So yeah, interesting few days, but maybe just starting to see the dust settle in terms of the initial reaction on the currency market. So obviously it's still some uncertain times ahead though with everything that's going on.
It's crazy how much your budget can be affected in the space of like a few days, right? 2% is on hundreds of thousands and millions is quite a big swing.
Yeah, absolutely. You could be talking 10, 20,000 pounds or dollars difference in terms of what that property is going to cost you. So that's where we come in to reduce that risk. We've got the option to fix rates of exchange into the future. So if you just want that peace of mind to know how much it's going to cost you, and just allow you to budget effectively, remove that exposure, then obviously that's where we can come in.
What do you, again, no crystal ball here, right? Or else we probably wouldn't be on this call. But how do you see the markets moving in the future? Any insight there?
It's difficult to know what's round the corner. I think with everything that's going on in the Middle East, the markets are going to remain on edge. And as things escalate, you're probably going to start to see investors moving their money and market players moving their money around. So depending on where they pull that from and where that money goes to, will drive the rates. But I think certainly we could be in for a sustained period of heightened volatility in the markets. And obviously during these uncertain times, as I mentioned, it's key to know what options are available to you when it comes to converting the currency. So yeah, watch this space in terms of how the markets will react. But I think the dollar is probably likely to remain sort of stronger in the near term, just with everything that's going on. And what you often find is that if the dollar strengthens, the euro will weaken, as it's one of the sort of most commonly traded pairs globally. But so it's key to know what your budget's going to be, what options you've got available. So if you are looking at purchasing a property, it's worth us having a chat sooner rather than later.
And you talked about options there. Can you just tell us a little bit about what options are available and how they work to mitigate risk?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of it will depend on a client's circumstances and appetite to risk. But one of the most popular tools for people purchasing overseas is to use what's called a forward contract. So that allows you to fix a rate of exchange for up to sort of 12 months or 2 years into the future. If you're buying a property, you probably won't need to go that far ahead, but you've got the flexibility if you're ever looking at like a stage payment for a new build or something like that. But the forward contract just allows you to secure that rate of exchange. You don't need to pay for the trade straight away in full. You only need to lodge a 5% deposit of the amount you're looking to convert. That normally comes across within 5 days of securing the rate. And then the remaining 95% just comes across before that far end date. So as I say, very popular tool with people looking to purchase overseas. Gives you that peace of mind, gives you that budgeting power and the protection in these ever-changing markets.
It sounds like something that works really well, not just for resale, but also, like you said, a plan, stage payments, locking in rates and at different stages, which a lot of our buyers are buying off plan as well. So that's a useful option for them. Another thing that I've been speaking to buyers about this week is their mortgage payments or their rental payments. So can you talk us a bit about regular payment plans and how they work a little bit, please?
Yeah, so you've got the option just to sort of set up a standing order and make a monthly transfer just as and when you need to, and that can be just done at the prevailing market rate using a spot contract. So that will just go through. Obviously, you don't quite know what the return will be in euros or whatever currency you're purchasing, but again, if you know what you're going to need or it's going to be a set amount each month, the forward contracts can be used over a 12-month period just to lodge that payment each month, and as it comes in, we draw down off of the contract, send the funds out just to use the funds. So I'd often do that for people looking at sort of just protecting their mortgage payments or pension incomes for sort of 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, depending on where the rates are at the time, just to give them a bit of peace of mind. Certainly if it's to cover like your living costs.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, cool. So I guess market updates. We have a lot of clients from the UK looking to buy, particularly in Europe. Can you give us a brief market update on GBP Euro, if possible?
Yeah, so I'd say this week's been pretty volatile. Monday morning, the pound fell to its lowest levels against the euro for near on 3 months, but has clawed back quite a bit of ground. And at the time of us talking, Jake, it's probably around about a 1-month high at the moment.
Okay.
So it's clawed back the ground it lost and more. I say probably partly down to the euro weakening off a bit, but also markets are starting to price in the fact the Bank of England may only look at cutting interest rates one more time in 2026, or maybe not even at all. So that's just an appealing point of view for an investor. So that the UK is offering higher interest rates than the Eurozone. If they start putting their money into the UK for a better return, that's going to strengthen the pound and push it up higher. So yeah, so a bit of a reaction on that this morning, but as it stands, yeah, close to a 1 month high at the moment.
Okay, perfect. And I know you touched briefly on the US dollar before. Is there anything else you wanted to say on USD euro? Is there anything to highlight there?
So it's gained about 2% over the course of this week. So that leaves it probably close to the highest levels we've seen since November. So that's a positive. I think if you look over the last 12 months, it's still down, but at one point was probably 8 or 9% down. So it's has started to move back in the right direction. Obviously, how long that lasts is anyone's guess with all this uncertainty we've got around the world at the moment. But yeah, so as it stands at the moment, the US dollar's in a slightly stronger position.
Yeah, just before we wrap up, Aussie dollar to euro. We've got a couple of clients that are looking to come over to Europe from us.
Yeah, so on Aussie dollar euro at the moment, probably very close to the highest it's been for 15 months. So that's a pretty good time to be looking at purchasing purchasing euros if you're holding Australian dollars. It's gained about probably just under 2.5% over the last month. Again, bit of euro weakness, but the Australian dollar's in a strong position. With the US Federal Reserve cutting interest rates, the Australian dollar's benefited on that, and just a stronger economy, commodity prices, all of that kind of thing is fueling the Australian dollar at the moment, and so that's a pretty decent pair to be looking at the moment.
Amazing. Well, thanks very much, Aaron, for joining us today. Everyone that's on the channel, if you want to see more content like this, then feel free to like the video and subscribe. And yeah, Aaron, thank you so much for sharing this. I know there's volatile times ahead, so appreciate you jumping on the channel, and we look forward to getting you back on again.
Perfect. Look forward to it.